Ever wondered how to make the perfect cookies at home? There's something truly magical about the aroma of freshly baked cookies wafting through your home. It's a scent that can transport you back to your childhood, to lazy Sunday afternoons spent helping in the kitchen. And the best part? Homemade cookies can be every bit as mouth-watering as the ones from your favorite bakery. The process of making them is not just fun, but also incredibly rewarding. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make delicious cookies right in your own kitchen. Before we start, gather all the necessary ingredients. A delightful cookie adventure begins with a good foundation. We'll need flour, the backbone of our cookies, providing structure and texture. Next, sugar, not just sweetening our cookies, but also contributing to their crispiness. Butter is crucial. It gives our cookies their mouth-watering richness and flavor. Then we have eggs, the binding agents that hold our cookies together. Baking soda, a little bit goes a long way to ensure our cookies rise and spread just right. And let's not forget the star of the show, the optional additions. Whether you're a chocolate chip fan or prefer a crunch of nuts, these mix-ins make each cookie uniquely delicious. Remember, using high-quality ingredients can elevate your cookies from good to great. It's the difference between a cookie and a memory that lingers long after the last crumb has been enjoyed. Now that we have everything ready, it's time to start baking. The first step in making cookies is to prepare the dough. That's where the magic happens, where the raw ingredients transform into a sweet golden promise of delicious cookies. To begin, we'll take our dry ingredients. That's the flour, baking powder, and a pinch of salt. These three create the base for our cookies. We'll stir them together in a bowl until they're well combined. The flour gives our cookies structure, the baking powder helps them rise, and the salt, it's our secret weapon, enhancing the sweet flavors and keeping the cookies from tasting flat. Next, we'll move on to the wet ingredients. In another bowl, we'll cream together the butter and sugar. This is an essential step as it incorporates air into our mixture, giving our cookies their light, tender crumb. It's important to beat the butter and sugar until they're pale and fluffy. This usually takes about 2 minutes. Now, we're ready to add in the eggs and vanilla. These are our binding and flavoring agents. The eggs help to bind our dough together, while the vanilla adds a layer of comforting, familiar sweetness. We'll beat these in until they're just incorporated, ensuring to scrape down the sides of the bowl as needed. Once our wet and dry ingredients are ready, it's time to combine them. We'll add the dry ingredients to the wet in 3 parts, mixing just until combined each time. This method helps us to avoid overmixing, which could result in tough cookies. And nobody wants a tough cookie, right? Now here's the important part. Resist the temptation to overmix. Overmixing develops the gluten in the flour and can lead to hard, dense cookies. Instead, we want to stir just until the flour disappears into the dough. And there you have it. Our cookie dough is ready. It should be soft and slightly sticky, ready to be shaped into delicious morsels of joy. With our dough prepared, we're ready to move on to the next step. So let's get baking, shall we? Now comes the fun part, shaping and baking your cookies. Once your dough is mixed and chilled, it's time to bring those cookies to life. Start by preheating your oven. For most cookies, a temperature of 375 degrees Fahrenheit is just perfect. While the oven is warming up, let's shape the dough. Grab a spoonful of dough, about the size of a golf ball. Roll it gently between your palms until it forms a smooth sphere. No need for perfection here. A little rustic charm adds character. Now, press it lightly onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Remember to leave enough space between each cookie. They will spread out a bit during baking, and we wouldn't want them to merge into one giant cookie, would we? Once your baking sheet is full, it's time for them to hit the heat. Slide the tray into your preheated oven and set your timer. The baking time will largely depend on the size of your cookies, but a good rule of thumb is around 12 to 15 minutes. As they bake, your kitchen will fill with an irresistible aroma, a sneak peek of the treat that's about to come. But how do you know when they're done? Well, the edges of your cookies will turn a beautiful golden brown. And the center? It should still be soft. Remember, cookies continue to cook even after they're out of the oven due to the residual heat. Once baked, remove them from the oven and let them cool on the baking sheet for about 5 minutes. Then transfer them to a wire rack to cool completely. Resist the temptation to dig in immediately. Patience, my friend, is the key to a perfectly baked cookie. And just like that, you've baked your very own cookies. Now, wasn't that a piece of cake? Or should we say, a piece of cookie? Enjoy the fruits of your labor, and remember, the joy of baking is in sharing. So spread the love and the cookies. There you have it, the perfect homemade cookies. Aren't they just a sight to behold? The golden hue, the tantalizing aroma, the delightful crunch giving way to a soft, chewy center. These are the hallmarks of a truly perfect cookie, and you've made them all on your own. Isn't it wonderful? Let's quickly recap the journey we've been on today. We started with the basic ingredients: flour, sugar, butter, eggs, and a dash of creativity. Then we moved on to the mixing stage, where we combined these humble components into a dough that held the promise of something truly special. Next, we shaped our cookies, giving them form and character before sending them off to the oven. There, under the gentle heat, they transformed into the delicious treats we have before us. Making cookies at home is about more than just the end product. It's about the process, the satisfaction of creating something from scratch, and the joy of sharing your homemade goodies with others. Plus, the beauty of this recipe is its versatility. Once you've mastered the basics, you can start experimenting with different flavors and add-ins. Maybe you'll add a sprinkle of cinnamon, a handful of chopped nuts, or a generous scoop of chocolate chips. The possibilities are endless, so go ahead, give it a try, and enjoy the delicious results of your baking efforts.